my dear child. Welcome to Lord Empowerment Channel. The story of Queen Jezebel's demise stands as one of the most dramatic and disturbing deaths recorded in the Bible. Jezebel, the infamous wife of King Ahab, was a wicked and manipulative woman who wielded immense power and influence in the northern kingdom of Israel. Her reign was marked by idolatry, the persecution of God's prophets, and the cruel oppression of the people, acts that had sparked the wrath of the Almighty. The stage was set for Jezebel's downfall when Jehu, a military commander, orchestrated a rebellion against the queen and the royal dynasty. Jehu had been anointed by the prophet Elisha to overthrow the house of Ahab and execute God's judgment upon Jezebel. As Jehu advanced on the city of Jezreel, where Jezebel was residing, the defiant queen donned her royal attire, painted her face, and defiantly looked down from a window in the palace. She taunted Jehu, asking, "Have you come in peace, you Zimri, you murderer of your master?" 2 Kings 9:31. This was a reference to a previous usurper who had assassinated the king. Jehu's response was chilling. "Who is on my side? Who?" Immediately, 2 or 3 of Jezebel's court officials looked out at him, and Jehu ordered them to throw the queen down from the window. Without hesitation, they seized the defiant monarch and hurled her from the high vantage point, her broken body plummeting to the ground below. But Jezebel's suffering did not end there. The biblical account goes on to state that the horses trampled her, and Jehu trampled her. 2 Kings 9:33. The gruesome scene unfolded before the horrified onlookers, as Jezebel's remains were crushed and desecrated under the hooves of Jehu's horses. Yet the horror did not stop there. When Jehu went inside to eat and drink, he then commanded his men, "See now to this cursed woman and bury her, for she is a king's daughter." 2 Kings 9:34. However, when they went to bury Jezebel, they found that the dogs had already consumed her flesh, leaving only her skull, feet, and hands. The shocking and disturbing details of Jezebel's death serve as a stark warning against wickedness and a powerful reminder of God's righteous judgment. Her demise was not only physically brutal, but also deeply dishonoring, as she was denied a proper burial, and her remains were left to be devoured by wild animals. This grisly episode stands as one of the most horrific deaths recorded in the Bible, a chilling testament to the consequences of defying the will of God and abusing one's power. Jezebel's gruesome downfall has endured as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the dangers of unchecked evil and the certainty of divine retribution. Jezebel's death was not merely a brutal act of violence, but one that carried profound symbolic meaning within the biblical narrative. Consider the following symbolic layers. The fall from power. Jezebel's plunge from the window of the palace represents the dramatic reversal of her once exalted position. She had wielded immense power and influence, but now she was cast down, literally and figuratively, from her lofty perch. Humiliation and disgrace. The manner of Jezebel's death, being thrown from a window, trampled by horses, and left to be consumed by dogs, was deeply dishonoring and humiliating. This level of indignity was a stark contrast to the regal status she had previously enjoyed. Divine judgment. Jezebel's gruesome demise was not merely the result of human rebellion, but rather an outworking of God's righteous judgment against her wickedness. Her death was a vivid display of the Lord's power to overthrow those who defy His will. Reversal of fortune. Jezebel's fate stood in stark contrast to the prosperity and opulence she had previously enjoyed as queen. Her violent end served as a sobering reminder that earthly power and wealth are fleeting in the face of divine judgment. The broader lessons and implications, the story of Jezebel's demise holds several important lessons and implications for readers. The consequences of evil. Jezebel's story underscores the reality that those who engage in wickedness, idolatry, and the oppression of God's people will not escape divine retribution. Her brutal end serves as a warning against the dangers of unchecked evil. God's sovereignty and justice. The account affirms God's sovereignty and his unwavering commitment to justice. It demonstrates that the Lord is willing to use any means necessary, even employing human agents like Jehu, to execute his judgment against those who defy him. The fragility of human power. Jezebel's downfall serves as a reminder that even the mightiest of earthly rulers are ultimately subject to the will and authority of the Almighty. No one is beyond the reach of divine judgment. The importance of righteousness. Jezebel's story highlights the need for God's people to remain steadfast in their devotion to Him and to resist the temptation to compromise their faith, even in the face of powerful opposition. The gruesome account of Jezebel's death stands as a stark warning and a powerful affirmation of the biblical themes of divine judgment, retribution, and the ultimate triumph of God's righteousness over wickedness. Its impact continues to resonate through the ages, serving as a sobering reminder of the consequences of defying the will of the Almighty. Therefore, Queen Jezebel was a wicked and influential ruler in the northern kingdom of Israel. Her reign was marked by idolatry, the persecution of God's prophets, and the cruel oppression of the people. This sparked the wrath of God, who orchestrated her downfall. When the military commander Jehu led a rebellion against Jezebel and the royal dynasty, the defiant queen defiantly looked down from a window in the palace. Jehu then ordered Jezebel's own officials to throw her out the window. Jezebel's suffering did not end there. The biblical account states that the horses trampled her body, and Jehu himself then trampled her remains. When Jehu's men went to bury Jezebel, they found that the dogs had already consumed her flesh, leaving only her skull, feet, and hands. This shocking and disturbing death was a stark display of divine judgment against Jezebel's wickedness. Her gruesome demise served as a powerful warning against defying God's will and abusing one's power. The manner of Jezebel's death, the humiliation, the desecration of her remains, carried deep symbolic significance. Ultimately, the story of Jezebel's downfall affirms God's sovereignty, righteousness, and commitment to justice. It stands as a sobering reminder of the consequences that await those who engage in evil and idolatry, no matter their earthly status or power. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.